Hello there everyone, Ash and Flash here, and welcome on into a early LEGO Icons and Disney set review. Today we are looking at set number 10365. This is unfortunately titled Captain Jack Sparrow's Pirate Ship. Set has 2,862 pieces, retailing for $379.99 USD or $449.99 Canadian. The set's going to be releasing for LEGO Insiders early, beginning on September the 12th to the 14th, but will become available for everyone else on the 15th. This was sent to me early by LEGO Inland to do a review for. Also, if you pick up the set while supplies last, they are also giving away a build of Captain Jack Sparrow's compass, which looks really, really cool. Anyways, the set itself, I made fun of the name because it's obviously the Black Pearl. This is the first set for LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean in almost 15 years, and it's incredible to have this theme back, the characters back, and I really hope that this is the start of something new like we've seen for Lord of the Rings over the last few years. And you can see all 8 of the figures up here. There's so much that they could do for this iconic franchise, and I think that starting off with the Black Pearl makes a lot of sense, and there's so much to go over and talk about here. But anyways, let's go ahead and let's take a closer look at this set. On top of the 22 regular bags, there's also all this. So all these parts, these big ship pieces, they all came separately here. So there are a total of 5 of these middle sections. There's this big piece, and it's all covered in cardboard. Inside here, we've got a couple of masts as well as another part for the ship. Also got a lot of these Dreams strings here, including its own individual separated bag here. Some more pieces for some of the Super Mario pieces that were introduced there in black, and some strings. And then this is the most important thing here. Inside, we have all of these sails here. They're gorgeous here. And look at this. This is a fabric, but also no stickers. All right, first impressions of this set. This is probably my favorite build of the entire year. The functionality in this is insane. Some of the angles and how they've built certain things is incredible. There's 11 fabrics here as well. Oh my goodness, they just all look amazing. There's like different wear and tear and tatters on them, holes that are more noticeable, but there's so much to talk about. So if you want, you can find time codes and chapters down below. Let's go ahead. Let's get started. First thing here that I need to show you is the functionality of the cannons. This is one of the coolest things LEGO has ever done here. Look at that. Oh my goodness. What a play feature here. Like, that is insane. I filmed some video actually going through the build process to show you how this actually works and functions, moving this entire beam through the entire body as the cannons are pushed forward, and then the little folds there also lift up when the cannons are pushed out. All right, well, how does it work? You've got the gears here, and you just turn the gears to open up both sides. I love the detailing underneath here, especially with that plate sticking out, all of these studs there. You've got these handles here on the side that look great, and this whole part, how it's snapped into place here, and it's on this incredible angle. Right above that is, in my opinion, my favorite part of the build. There are so many new pieces being used here that didn't exist back with the original theme that really brings this to life. First of all, the windows, I don't know if you can see that, but they're just 1 by 1 transparent bricks stacked on top of each other. And that just works so well. All the gray here is using parts that didn't exist back then to create this incredible design and the trim around that. The fenders, though, sticking into the ice cream cone pieces looks so cool. That is such a smart part usage. Up above that, these lanterns look great. There should be some black tridents here. They're supposed to be statues, but it's fine. I really like these parts being used for like decoration down there in black. That's amazing. But since we're here talking about it, I'll just show it to you now. This whole section actually is detachable here to get access to the captain's quarters. And also, there's all this ample play space there. I just wish that it was a little bit more filled in with barrels and crates, jar dirt, or something here. Here's a better look at what it looks like from the inside with all the glass. That looks so cool. When I started building this, I was like, oh my goodness, what are we gonna reference inside here? I started to get really excited, and then it was nothing. It was just a bunch of maps, which just uses all of these plates stacked on top of each other. And then you've got this map. I thought, okay, you know, maybe we were going to get So Fang's map. Would have been cool. But nope, you do have an apple here for Barbosa. Bunch of candles around. Thought maybe, you know, a little reference to like the drawing of the key. You could sit Barbosa down there, and then I thought, oh, you know, maybe a knife's going to be included. No knife. And for Elizabeth, she has to stand because they didn't include like the Rivendell design so that minifigures can sit down now. Even Jack can't sit down in the seat. I think it's more supposed to be recreating the scene where they're striking a deal after Jack's left behind on Isla de Muerta. So yeah, 5 candles, 2 cups, a croissant, and then a fish in a barrel. Reattaching it, you just got to line up these gray hinges there to the black clips, and you could just slide it over here. So you do have a rail here, as well as, again, the steering wheel, and you might have seen before, but you do have enough space, and specifically a spot, if the figure's hand is upwards, you can have them actually steering the ship. The steering wheel here is insane. So the way this works is you can't just spin the whole thing. It'll actually get stopped at one point. You can turn it the other way. But this is actually turning the rudder. There, you can see it in frame here, my hand up here. Look at this. It actually turns it. And it's simple, but just such a cool feature. You have these doors which are supposed to lead to the captain's quarters, but it's sort of just a facade for the build. Instead, it just has 2 green bottles inside there of, I'm assuming, rum. So that's the most reference that you're going to see throughout this. I love how this lantern is here attached to the main mast. Functionality wise, this is the only thing lacking. This is to raise and lower the anchor here. So you could spin it really fast, which is unrealistic, but you can turn it, which is cool. There are the anchors included that you'll see in a second, but I just wish that maybe that could have been included, since I know some other ships have had that. Is it a charger? No, it's just a barrel. The middle section here with the dinghy, you can actually remove the dinghy. I don't like that we've got these red studs there, so that if the dinghy's not there, that's so jarring. Like, that's so bright. But I do like how you can actually remove this section very easily here. All right, so here is the interior, and you got a good sense of like what the cannons look like before here. When I was showing you how the function works here, you could see a little bit of it from this angle, what it looks like when it's fully complete with the deck and everything. But there's not much going on the interior here. Actually, the only thing of note is this treasure chest here, which just has a gold chalice inside. And placing it back is really easy. So here is the little dinghy. It may seem not too exciting, but it actually has you place the compass, which is back here on this 1x1 dark blue tile. The rest of this here, you've got 2 seats as well as 2 oars that you can, for some reason, they are really attached to those clip pieces. So that's a little annoying here. You've got to hold it down, I guess, and then remove the oars. And then you can have a figure sit there and paddle away. I do really like the amount of like space that you have here for figures to actually walk around. Like, that's really decent. 3 studs on each side. This is one of the coolest parts, I think, of the build. The way that the actual handles are all sticking out here, it's hard to see, but they're not all even. They're not on the same level. They actually jut out all at different lengths, which I think is very impressive how they've designed that. Up here on top, again, you take those steps and then you can walk up to here. You've got another lantern there, and again, so much space. And here's where you've got this really great rail and the anchors. So there's no real way to drop them like play feature wise. You just have to unhook it there and you can drop the anchor, which is a really interesting build, using the actual anchor pieces there in gunmetal gray and then extending it and making it a lot bigger there and more accurate to what it looks like. And they're on this chain piece. Here in the front, I love this bit here. Like, the build is amazing. The parts and the angles and just how that's attached, again, creating such a unique shape. There's spots here in the front that you can actually place your figures around. So I like that there's ample space around here. I love how the figurehead here, this angel looks. I think that's really impressive how they have it attached to this plate there with the hinge on it, and how that goes all the way down here into the hull. Just looking at the figure up close here, I thought I'd show you the wings look really great in the sand green here. The ponytail piece there as well. The little bird without the printing is interesting. The torso looks great, and same with the dress printing there. No back dress printing, but the back torso looks good, and so does the face. I wonder if this is going to be the start of us getting more and more sand green copper statues now, like what happened with Rivendell. The way that this juts out and the angle that this is on is amazing. Also, just this is the most you actually feel like you're tying up the sails. It's really great. So this string is drawn all the way, and it's got the little telephone pieces there on the ends to hold this in place and tightly. I think that's so impressive, and you do the same thing down below there as well. This sail you actually get 3 times in the set. This smaller one, it's mostly intact except for one spot, and I'll just show it to you here in the back. You've got these 2 little tatters there. Next level up, this big sail here has a pretty decent size hole, as well as a tatter here on this side, as well as a tatter there and a hole there. There's a hole on the sail up as well as on the edge, and you've got a big hole and some tatters here. Having just built the Going Merry from One Piece and using these string pieces too from Dreams, these are in much better shape, and I feel like the shaping of this, maybe it's just the parts that they use down below, that classic space piece, maybe that is what's keeping them in line, but it looks a lot better and not all messy like you might have seen in that review. What's great about the Dreams piece is that it allows you to actually place your figures and attach them around, which brings, I think, the ship to life. You do have a crow's nest here with a stud for you to place your figures and actually have them standing around. That design is repeated over here as well. There's a lot of Technic extensions here to actually extend past the regular size of the mast pieces. So there's nothing too crazy going on though for the building for this. There are some little ball joints used throughout this, like here you'll see, to connect to this sail that's in the center, which looks really great. Again, that same one that you saw in the front. But up here at the top, there is something special. This looks great, actually being a fabric piece versus back then it was plastic. Love the skull, the swords, and the tatters and rips. This back section, the string is a little messy here, but you do have that triangular sail there in the back. And then again, similar design that you saw before for this extension here for this brick-built mast. Over here on the other side, I haven't really talked about it much because I don't really need to show anything except for I'll just do a sweeping shot. You could see some of the actual connection points and ball joints here, how the sails are connected. It's a little uglier on this side. It's another reason why I just am not going to even be displaying it from this side. But in terms of the bottom part and the rest of the body of the build, it's the exact same thing, I think, reflected, minus that one placement of the barrel. All right, so I don't know how to actually do this, if there's a proper way to go about it. I'm trying to just find, there we go, and separate the seam. Easy and hard to do at the same time. You just got to sort of find the seam, and there you go. The bottom will pop off here. So what the heck did I just do? Well, it actually separates, and technically into 3 parts here, because you can remove the bottom pieces here too by sliding them out. If you wanted to not have it on a stand, you could do that as well. But I think that makes it feel like a ship in the bottle and a part of an actual collection. But the brick-built bottom of this is so interesting how, for the first time ever, you could take this design here and apply this to any other pirate ship, and now you have an official way to connect this to underneath of any of the classic Lego pirate ships. So all this is just colorful because you're never going to see it, but really, really cool idea here. That also lets this become like an actual playset, where now it's in the water. Instead of it being this display model, you can now play around with this. If you have like as a kid, I had a blue carpet and I would move around my ships and everything. So that's really cool that they thought of this. That is amazing, and why I think we're gonna get more sets. Because I don't know about you, but this screams the start of a new collection. And now to place it back, it's really easy. I thought that this was actually had more of a stronger connection, but it just sits on top, and I guess the weight of this keeps this in check here. You just got to find the grooves and everything, and then you can push down. Starting things off here with Captain Jack Sparrow, who looks really cool. The dual molded legs is a nice touch for sure. I love the sand blue there. How they have this like wrap continuing down, I think is interesting. And you can see the legs there too. There's a little bit of the dark blue from that vest continuing down. He's got that belt. Notably though, he is missing like a few straps across his chest. This is because this is supposed to be from the scene where he dives in to rescue Elizabeth from drowning. So that's an interesting choice. I like the back torso. You can see the other expression of him being scared. I love the new skin color for him. The like eyeliner underneath looks great in gray. And the accessories that he's got a sword and then also the pistol there. But the hair and tricorn hat combo looks great. You could see the printing there, the little tan. There's silver bits as well as the red is really bright this time around. You can see even here on the back how that looks. I love that Jack's here. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad to have him back after all these years. It's just not the outfit that I would have chosen for him. Here's Captain Barbossa, who looks amazing. I love the gunmetal gray for his outfit with that black strap. Looks really cool. The hair color here too, using one of the newer colors, is so cool, and how it's molded in to this hat as well. And it's got the feather there in the black. I love how that looks. The leg printing there, the torso. He's the best figure, I think, in the set for sure. The face, they really captured his likeness, I think, there. Even the scar looks really cool. And of course, when you put him in moonlight, he has his cursed face, which looks really creepy. You can see what it looks like with the hat and hair back. It's very creepy. Obviously, if you're doing this, I'd swap out the hand color, but you'll notice that you can't see any skin on the collar, so that's cool. Also, this 1x1 of the cursed Aztec gold from Cortez looks so cool. Oh my goodness. I love that little Lego skull there. Just great. Also, you do get an extra one included because it's a small piece, so I only need 880 more. Here is Elizabeth Swann, who looks really good. Like, it's a great figure. I just don't agree with the choice for the dress. Could have had some back dress printing there, but removing the hair, which is actually the Elizabeth Swann hair, that is literally what I have called it for all these years, so really cool. But anyways, you could see the torso there. Very detailed how that continues down into the bottom. And she's got the face there that is used a lot for Scarlett Johansson. So it's fine. I guess it works. Actually, Padme used it. And then Keira Knightley was in Star Wars in that as one of the decoys. So that's actually quite fitting, I guess. Here's Will Turner, who looks great. This is a new outfit for him. I mean, he had that same boring outfit in every single one of the sets that he was in, but it looks great. I like how they've printed the front with that pattern, and it's solid here on the back. I think that's kind of interesting, and you can see the scarf wrapped around up at the neck, removing the Will Turner hair. Yes, that was introduced way back when. Looks great. I think the face, the actual likeness is really great here. This sort of fighting expression on the other side. Here is Joshua Gibbs, who looks pretty good. Speaking of that hairpiece, he introduced it way back when in dark gray. So really cool that all these years later, it's still stuck around. But the torso looks good there, I think, in sand blue and the torso printing. The beard, I don't know, I think they captured his facial structure and everything, but there needed to be white in the beard. It's so noticeable. But spinning it around here on the other side, he's got this angry expression there. I love the part in the beard too. That is really, really nice detailing there on the back torso. He's also got this pistol. Here is Marty for the very first time, who's very important since he appears in 4 out of the 5 films. I love the torso printing here, and you could see how, again, they're doing that same design for the vest. I like the keys around his neck there, and the face looks perfect. I love how they've captured that. He's got this long gun here. Here is Mr. Cotton and Mr. Cotton's parrot, which I don't know about the parrot. Would have really loved a more detailed version of the parrot. I think that would have gone a long way, and having it be a little bit more accurate in terms of the color. Like, this is mostly blue So I don't know about that. But anyways, let's look at Mr. Cotton on his own, shall we? I think the torso looks pretty good with all the tatters and the belt going around there. You could see the back torso printing. The wrap, I'm going to be honest with you. I looked at the reference material. I agree that it can be sand blue. It looks gray sometimes. But the Lego game had to be purple. And I have always wanted this piece in purple so that I could make a Mr. Cotton. So hopefully, like, if Pirates ever comes back, if they ever have like a lavender one or something, I'm gonna swap it out for this. But this face is interesting. I don't know, this reminds me of like Count Dooku. I don't know, it just doesn't really look like Mr. Cotton because most of the time his eyes closed. So yeah, I mean, he does open it sometimes, but I feel like that's just an iconic part of Mr. Cotton is having that one eye closed. So it's fine. I'm still extremely happy to have them both. And the last figure here is Anna Maria for some reason. Yes, blink and you miss it. Zoe Saldana is actually in the first Pirates of the Caribbean film here. She actually usually has like this big hat. So I think that's a shame that they didn't have that. But the hair here, the Elizabeth Swann hair in black works well, I think, for her. You could see the back torso, the expression. She's got a smile on one side and this upset expression on the other, which is very fitting. And the torso, it looks great. It's a very detailed torso, but just there's so many other characters I would have loved to get first. All right, here is the instruction manual. Crazy to see these two things side by side there, but you've also got on the back the classic skull and crossbones there with the swords. But this is an 18+ set and the return of this beloved theme. So here we go. You could pause and read about this, and you've got Jack being scared and rowing away. You've got each of the members here of the crew. I mean, yeah, I guess the crew from At World's End, I guess. But yeah, you could pause and read some more here. Got this great shot of the Black Pearl attacking the Interceptor. Love that as a set. But yeah, you could see here we've got it docked outside of Isla de Muerta, and then a little blurb from the design team. And what's great about this, and I love when they do this so much here, they included little blurbs all throughout this. Like you can see here, they even talk about like where some of the parts were first created there from Classic Space. So that's really awesome. Little tidbits throughout instructions I will never complain about.
Anyways, everyone, that is my review of Captain Jack Sparrow's pirate ship set, the Black Pearl. It is an amazing set. I mean, I think the build is phenomenal for this. Like, the design and how it functions is just wow. Like, this is probably my favorite build of the year that I've done. However, there's just a lot lacking. There's a lot of detail lacking, a lot of references and things that I think a lot of fans would really come to appreciate. And the minifigures here and the outfits, they're just interesting choices, just not what I personally would have expected for this. And I don't think that for some people it's their iconic looks, and I think that is definitely holding this set back on top of an already very expensive price tag. A lot of this is because of the large pieces and different things and all the new fabrics, all the new molds, recolors and prints. There's a lot going on in the set, but that still is a very hard pill to swallow when, in my opinion, there's still a lot to be desired. But what do you think of the set? Am I being too hard on this? Should I just be really grateful the fact that I'm even having this set in front of me right now? But let me know what you think. Be sure to subscribe, turn the bell notifications so that you don't miss out on future LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean set news and reviews. Hope that you guys did enjoy the video. Hope you all have a great day. I will see you all in the next one.